This is Kal Kat, the Kal Caster, and this is I think this is 995, episode 995 of the Reviews channel. So the Oscars is in March, so I'm gonna review, and we don't really care about what the Oscar nominees, except for Dune, could be nominated for a bunch of stuff. We really don't care at any of the other ones, because, really. Well, I guess Licorice Pizza is also nominated. I haven't seen it, so it was not rated in the Claire Awards. Anyway, on to the next thing. Trailers were for the long trailer for the Batman, and what was the other one? The Batman, and there was other ones. So the movie that I saw was Uncharted. I know some people pre-screened it last week. Finally, I got to Uncharted, and for some reason, Moonfall is playing again at the theater. Just because if we went to AMC, then they started playing it here again. But doesn't matter. Uncharted is loosely based on the PlayStation video game. Very loosely based on the video game. Uncharted is another reason why, back in the day, in 2015 or so, the Star Trek Beyond guy changed his name to Star Trek Uncharted, and went on the Star Trek Beyond guy because they were going to make a movie out of Star Trek Beyond, and he wanted to capitalize on it, and Paramount said, we want that domain back, thus relaunching the career of Michael Chang-Gamelt. He had nothing to do with the Uncharted video game, though. But choosing that title made everyone think of, he's the Uncharted guy. No, he was Force Unleashed. He was a Star Trek Elite Force 2 and one other game, but he was not involved in Uncharted. So he wrote this fan film script, and it went out. And it had nothing to do with a movie. He played it like it was a fan film. It was not. Anyway, so this is, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is Uncharted. This is actually what he was changed his name to, Uncharted. So this is sort of what he was trying to emulate, and if that's what Mike was trying to do, I would say he got away with it a little bit in this one. The characters are similar to those in the Star Trek spec script. It's not Star Trek. It's more like a weird conglomeration of National Treasure and The Mummy and Indiana Jones, Romancing the Stone, and a number of other action movies that have done similar things. It's not the game. It's nothing like the game. The game is as close to this as Gamelt's spec script was to Star Trek. To say, not very, really. His script was actually close to Lower Decks, though. I will give him that. It was close to Lower Decks. But I don't think that he actually had anything to do with writing Lower Decks. That guy is probably Mr. McMahon's son from Jung Swan. So yeah, he that's where that guy comes from. So Lower Decks, he met the Silly Trek guy. He met us. Yeah. So at some point, apparently he absorbed it. It's sort of the better one. But Gamelt, so anyway, so this is Uncharted, and it's not nothing to do with Star Trek Uncharted. It's supposed to do with this game that has the two brothers in it that are supposed to be roughly similar in age, that go on map quest adventures with maps and stuff. It also is similar to Carmen Sandiego, and Dora the Explorer. Sort of like they were trying to do a Dora the Explorer. But Dora the Explorer, ironically, was a spoof of Indiana Jones. So it's all back to the spoof of Indiana Jones. And Indiana Jones was a spoof of the Quartermain novels and all that stuff. And Hornblower and all that. Kind of similar source to Star Trek way back when. The serials, the 50s serials, 30s to 50s serials, the 1930s to 50s serials, TV serials, that is. So Uncharted has that a lot of hanging around. Tom Holland and Mark Walberg, or Marky Mark, who played a Jaeger in Transformers, who played Mark's Cards, which was funny. Acting like Jim, acting like that is Jim Buffkin friend from school, Buffkin. And this one, it's as if he got together, if Jim Buffkin got together with me and went on an adventure when we were younger. But yeah, so which could have happened. But there's there's a girl in it who acts like the one from Star Trek Uncharted, plucky girl character, who is also evil in this version. There's another girl who's evil in the version, with white hair, hair dyed white. There's Antonio Banderas plays a bad guy. They do a trope. At one point he does this big long speech and is then promptly done in. Which is funny. That's right out of a Kal Kat story. Oh, and before it's forgotten, there are some Kal Kat lines in this movie. So I can't say it was all bad. There is a line in the movie that we said way back in the Pineville days. This person is clearly, whoever directed this is clearly on the same wavelength, if not went to Pineville, might have. And he was all, well, I want a line in here in which he like orders up a bunch of stuff, and at the end he says, and a cat. And a cat. Yeah, so he's like, I want some nylon extension cord and some pirate stuff and a cat. So, okay, I'll get the cat. And they get a cat for Mark Walberg, which they then leave in a house with a nap cat watcher person on their adventure. It looks kind of like Grumpy Cat. It was probably meant to be Grumpy Cat, but Grumpy Cat died a few years ago, so they couldn't get him, so they got another cat to play Grumpy Cat. And also we have references to Stone Gremlins in it. We have a lady named Chloe, named after one of the cats of the late Chloe. We have some interesting crossovers going on here. This is the kind of movie that Channel Awesome would have done if they had the money. If they said, we're going to throw millions of dollars at you to do a pirate adventure. Yeah, let's just go and do that. I don't know. Does Brad Jones like this movie? I think he kind of did. Yeah. I don't know if the movie has moxie, if it has like them lifting up pirate ships at the end, you see in the trailer, with helicopters and having one of them shoot a cannon at another pirate ship. So it's pretty weird, but it's pretty out there, or having them dangle from a plane. Although the dangling from the plane thing, Tom Cruise has done it in several movies, mainly Mission Impossible and The Mummy and a bunch of others, so it's like, well, they've already done this one, so they're kind of doing it over. They just made it more dramatic than cargo or anything. It doesn't matter if the plot makes absolutely no sense, and if they all get to points to follow each other around in the story, which is typical of, well, I guess action serials in general anyway. But the bad guys really shouldn't have known where they were going at all, because the heroes opened up the keys they get these keys, shiny gold keys, and they go down and they open up this corridor thing and they run around and on the John Capia website, he mentioned his friend, the guy from, he's got the ex-exec co-producer from Axanar, not the Axanar guy, but the co-producer who left on there, and he said, yeah, they went down into this tomb, and it was like, it's 500 years it hasn't been opened, and there's a Home Depot light in the background in this ancient tomb. So I was looking for the Home Depot light when I saw the movie. And there it was, for some reason, down in the catacombs under this mysterious church, the Tree Church, in Spain. There's a bank light, ceiling light. Just there, somebody's been down there and put ceiling lights in there. And hell is a nightclub. They break into hell, and it's a nightclub. There's the old trope of the water's filling in on our heroes. It's going to kill them. They have to get out. Open up the thing. He's fighting the other lady with the gray hair at one point. Wahlberg's fighting the lady with the gray hair, while Holland is dying with the other girl down in the that thing's filling up with water because it's a trap. You got to get out of the trap and escape. So there's one scene like that in there. They steal a map to go to a treasure. Early on, though, the brothers tried to steal the map as boys, and it didn't work. He got a hold of the map. Then they go to this treasure thing, and then they figure out all the clues. The clues are ridiculous. They're like something out of Carmen Sandiego. And if Holland's character figures out the clues and then leaves the wrong data for the girl, then how did all the bad guys find out where he was going? Just like the bad guys couldn't have followed him down the corridor and showed up at the nightclub because they wouldn't have known where he was going. The only thing that works is that they all were tracking his cell phone and it was all on. It's the only thing I can figure is they're tracking the cell phone. So they did establish that in the movie. I guess you could say they could have been doing that, but the bad guys should have said that in dialogue somewhere. Like, oh, we've got a tracer on that guy's phone. We totally know where he's going, even though we'll be there when he gets there. There should have been a line like that in there. Yeah, it's like, we got his phone. Although, down in the Philippines, I doubt the GPS would work over when they go to the Philippine part. I doubt they would work over open water like that. Or there aren't any cell towers. Probably would be useless. So, find the pirate ships, a la Goonies. They find the treasure. And then the bad guys proceed to somehow, then they hide in the hold, and the bad guys lift the helicopters, lift them out. And these boats that are 500 years old wouldn't just disintegrate immediately upon being lifted out of the cargo thing. They would just be gone, wouldn't they? Just fall apart. They're 500 years old. But yeah, oh well. Yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff going on. This is first impression. It's a little bit of spoilery, but it's all kind of in the trailer. The trailer gives away way too much. It even gives away a scene that's a scene from the end credits, which he's wearing a mustache and comes in and it's got the cat. But yeah, the Walberg character. Yeah, they show a scene from the end credits. They throw in like there's going to be a sequel. Like this is going to be like $1 million franchise from these guys. I doubt it. I mean, it's fun, but it's fine. But I don't know how a big dumb action movie. Well, that's fine, but it's not going to be remembered like something like Indiana Jones or even Dora the Explorer. There was a live action Dora the Explorer a few years ago, and it was actually really good. And I'm not sure why. It had no right to be really good, and it was really good. It was well done. I understand the director was actually that did other stuff. Yeah, so with that, just knew what he was doing, I guess. Yeah, and they got the right casting with that one. I'm not. Although the Computer Show did complain about the casting of the brothers, and the game is not necessarily specific on their exact personalities because it's a game and you go and you like point and click adventure kind of thing, go on a quest kind of thing. It's not clear what their personalities would really be like. So the director taking liberties with one of the characters at least is it's okay. And I wonder if Capino realized that Wahlberg's character is not the brother. Wahlberg's character is the brother's friend that he met, and then the brother is allegedly dispatched at some point. It's not supposed to be the brother. It's this other guy. Yeah. It's Walberg is not the brother. He's confused. I think Stone Gremlins knew it wasn't the brother. Yeah, so yeah, they're separated in age by 20 years or so. And Wahlberg's my age, and he's... Holland's younger. Holland's in his 20s. Yeah, they wouldn't be brothers. They would be father and son almost at this point. Almost, yeah. But no, they didn't do that. They didn't do the whole Indiana Jones and his father thing. But yeah, it's. I'm trying to remember what the other preview was, but yeah, it was fine. It was entertaining. You know, where else are you going to see a movie where they lift up two pirate ships with helicopters? Well, schooners, I guess. Exploration ships, which probably wouldn't have had cannons, I guess, just for defense. And they wouldn't be working anymore after 500 years. Gunpowder kind of decays, doesn't it? Oh, well. Yeah, but the jeopardy is somewhat silly in places where he's hanging from the lights that would have killed him immediately. He would have fallen. At one point in the early one, and he's hanging from planes, and he's hanging from other things, doing Spider-Man, basically. and yeah. And the Oscars is not using him as a host, although I think that was just the Capina show, again, just theorizing, which is fine. But no, they were going to get somebody else. Amy Poehler would be more interesting, but they got somebody else to get Schumer, I think, and two other people. But yeah, the Oscars is... there is a pretentious movie called Power of the Dog that the Oscars is a critical darling with the Oscars. And I did mention the Oscars earlier. I haven't seen it at all. I haven't seen any previews for it. I haven't seen it anywhere. I think it's a Netflix movie, possibly. I'm assuming it came out last year, but it's one of those movies which might have come out this year, and they just said, "No, it's fine." But it ticks all the boxes. From what I hear, this movie is about a closeted cowboy. Oh, well, there you go, with psychological psychosis issues. There's another box ticked. Okay, you got tick tick tick. Okay, Oscar, and it's very slow and meandering and dull. Great, the Oscars love that. And it's because the Oscar people are this movie's the opposite of that. It's clearly extremely homoerotic and doesn't care. But yes, I'm looking for phallic cross symbols. But yeah, it's like it ticks all the right boxes. It's really slow, boring plotting, and it has a psychotic guy who is closeted. Great. It has all the... They should give it an Oscar. This picture. No. Dune 2021, which Mark Sparks has apparently seen now, deserves the Oscar this year. It does. Best Picture. Dune. The part 1 of Dune. They probably won't do it, though. They'll probably give it to this other movie. Or they might snub the Licorice Pizza movie. They might snub it. But I don't think they will. I think it'll be the dog movie. Just because that's the most cynical thing they could do. Let's pick the one that ticks all the boxes for our 90-some-year-old Oscar people. And I guess Capina and the others have been to the Oscars and they know some background Hollywood stuff. They're convinced it's not a fake thing like some of the other award shows, but I think it still is because I knew some other people in the 90s, not anymore, but in the 90s, and there was this tendency with the Oscar people to rate they would go after the movies that were the most dramatic. Somebody with mental issues is in it. Somebody has cancer in it. Somebody has issues, drama and stuff. And Mark's Cards and I had often discussed it and said, like, you know what they should have done, what they should do with the Oscars. They should do kind of what they do with the Kids' Choice and the MTV Awards, and they should say category. Okay, you can have your weepy drama or your dark, dreary movie. Put that in a different category, so that your action picture. And I even did that in junior college, the action picture. Have your action picture win on occasion too, just because. So you have categories. That's what they should do with the Oscars, categories. So you have drama, best drama of the year, best comedy of the year, best thriller of the year. Yeah, that's the way they should do it. Best thriller of the year, best fantasy of the year. That way you can cover all the bases. Comedy, drama, thriller, and fantasy. And anything else you want. Well, fantasy would be sci-fi. Thriller would be horror as well. And some horror movies have one. So, yes. The most recent horror movie to win the Oscar was The Parasite. Which should have been foreign film and horror. But yes. But before that, many years ago, Silence of the Lambs won one. But yeah, a sci-fi movie being nominated for Best Picture really should be sci-fi. It's our fantasy film. And anyway, so yeah, it's near Oscar season, so I want to mention that. And Uncharted is nothing like the game. I know there's people out there that, oh, you ruined my childhood game. It wasn't like the game. It wasn't like the game, but it's fun, so it's fine.